Hello, I am Lily. I chose the topic of the evolution of fashion because ever since I was a little kid, I always loved to learn more about women's fashion. Have you ever wondered, how have the designs and styles changed from then to now? Well, I have, so I'm going to be explaining how it has changed. Back in the early 1900s to the 1950s, people wore lots of different types of clothing, but a few of the most popular things to wear was T-strapped heels, leather bags and leather purses, furry and sometimes sparkly dresses, and summery dresses with all different types of patterns. And as you can tell, women's fashion has changed a lot over time. For example, nowadays women wear things like jean shorts and jeans, shorts, long-sleeved shirts, t-shirts, tote bags, and sneakers. Have you ever thought or wondered, what were the materials and fabrics people used to make clothing? Well, from the 1930s to the 1990s, there was a huge variety of materials and fabrics. For example, some of the most common materials they used were rayon wool, silk, cotton, wool, rayon, denim, linen, cashmere, tavor velvets, lycra, fleece, plaid, and stonewash. From the 2000s and above, the materials and fabrics haven't changed much since the 1930s to the 1990s. But the most popular material of all is cotton. The reason people favor cotton the most is because it feels good, it's comfy, and it's soft. But now you may be wondering, what were some major fashion trends from the 1930s to now? One of the most popular women's fashion trends of all was bell-bottoms. Bell-bottoms have been around since the 1970s. Bell-bottoms weren't made too long ago, but when people discovered them, it became a huge fashion trend. In my research, I found through my site visit, camp was a huge fashion trend. But these outfits were unlike any outfits. These outfits were crazy. Some dresses were puffy, some were shiny, some were fuzzy, or even furry. Camp dresses were made out of all kinds of things. Some weren't even made out of actual fabrics. For example, there was one dress that was made out of coins and dollar bills. And Vogue was founded in 1894, but didn't become popular and didn't start trending till later on in 1909. You may know Vogue on a magazine or in articles, but they also have clothes. Also, almost all of their clothes have their logo on it. And in 1990, they made a few crazy outfits. For example, this one is a jumpsuit with a face piece and Vogue written all over it. And then compared to this outfit, which is just a simple shirt, they're very different from each other, and the Vogue jumpsuit outfit is so much more crazy than a simple shirt. Another clothing trend was fur and floral patterns on dresses. Also, what was really popular was blouses with puffy sleeves around the 1940s. But what were the prices of all these clothes? And I mean, are the prices of clothes better then or now? I think that most of us can agree on that the prices were probably better then than they are now, and I think I can prove this. For example, the average cost of a winter coat in the 1930s was $16. The average price of a winter coat now is $80. That's a $64 difference. The cost of living has also changed. In general, everything was much cheaper long ago. And how has the process of making clothes changed from then to now? Well, hand sewing has existed for over 20,000 years. Knitting has existed since the 16th century, and the sewing machine was founded in 1846. Hand sewing is much harder than it looks. It requires skill, practice, and patience. To hand sew, you need 2 pieces of fabric, a needle, thread, and that's it. Plus, if you mess up, you can't go back, because to go back, you would need the needle to go through the piece of fabric that you just sewed, and that is very hard to do. Knitting requires 2 needles, yarn, and that's it. To knit, you thread the yarn over the needles, and depending on what you're making, you will have to knit it differently. And sewing on a sewing machine doesn't require as much skill, but it is the faster and easier way to make clothing. But sometimes a sewing machine can be hard to set up because you have to thread the thread through all these small, different spaces in the sewing machine. People still do all these things for fun and as hobbies. In all, I learned that fashion has changed a lot throughout the years. I hope you enjoyed my capstone project. For more information, check out my blog.